Welcome, everyone. I'm excited to kick off today's presentation on real-world IT's approach to governance, risk, and compliance. Today, we'll focus specifically on PIPEDA compliance. In this session, I'll introduce the key concepts, share best practices, and discuss how we can ensure your organization stays compliant. Let's get started. Let's take a closer look at Canadian federal privacy law. This law specifically governs private sector organizations, meaning businesses and other private entities that handle personal information. Its main focus is on protecting personal information, which includes any data that can identify an individual. The law applies to how organizations collect, use, and disclose this information. This is crucial because it sets clear boundaries and responsibilities for organizations when managing personal data. The enforcement of this law is carried out by the Office of the Privacy Commissioner, or OPC, which ensures that organizations comply with the rules. Now, you might have heard of PIPEDA. That's the Personal Information Protection and Electronic Documents Act. It's Canada's primary federal privacy legislation that outlines these principles and requirements. Understanding this law helps us appreciate how privacy is protected in the private sector, and how organizations are held accountable for handling personal information responsibly. Now, let's take a closer look at the types of organizations we're talking about. First, we have private sector organizations, which include a wide range of businesses and entities operating for profit. These are often involved in commercial activities that drive the economy. Then, there are federally regulated entities. These are organizations that fall under specific federal rules and oversight, making sure they comply with national standards. We also need to consider cross-border data handlers. These are organizations that manage or process data across different countries, adding an extra layer of complexity in terms of regulation and compliance. Additionally, some provincial overlaps come into play here, meaning that certain organizations might operate in multiple provinces, which can create unique challenges in terms of jurisdiction and data governance. All of these organizations are covered under this framework because they play a significant role in the data ecosystem, and understanding their scope helps us better grasp the overall landscape. This slide really emphasizes the diversity of players involved and why a comprehensive approach is necessary to address their specific needs and responsibilities. Let's talk about what constitutes personal information. Essentially, it includes any information about an identifiable individual, whether it's stored digitally or in physical records. This means it covers data related to both customers and employees, so it's quite broad in scope. The definition is also quite flexible and depends on the context. What might be considered personal information in one situation could differ in another. Overall, the key idea is that personal information is any data that can identify a person, and understanding this helps us better navigate privacy and data protection responsibilities. Let's talk about how to assign privacy responsibility within your organization. First, it's crucial to designate a privacy officer, someone who will be the go-to person for all privacy-related matters. This helps ensure accountability and clear leadership. Next, developing solid privacy policies is essential. These policies set the standards and expectations for handling personal information properly. Training staff is another key step. Everyone needs to understand their role in maintaining privacy, so regular training helps keep privacy front and center in daily operations. Overseeing third parties is equally important. You want to make sure that any external partners or vendors are also adhering to your privacy standards. And of course, accountability ties everything together. By clearly assigning responsibilities and having oversight, you create a culture where privacy is a shared priority. This all ties back to the bigger picture, protecting personal data and building trust with those you serve. Let's talk about how important it is to define the purpose before we start collecting data. Knowing exactly why we're gathering information helps us stay focused and ethical throughout the process. Next, clear communication is key. Making sure everyone involved understands the purpose helps build trust and transparency. It's also essential to limit the scope of use. We shouldn't collect more data than we need, and we should only use it for the purposes we've specified. Avoiding secondary use of data is critical too. Using data for something different from what it was originally intended can lead to privacy concerns and trust issues. Documenting the purposes of data collection is a good practice. It creates a record that shows we've been transparent and responsible. Overall, clearly identifying and communicating our purposes helps us build a solid foundation for ethical data management and aligns with the broader theme of responsible data handling. Let's talk about obtaining meaningful consent. First, it's important to recognize that consent can be implied or explicit. Implicit consent might be given through actions, but explicit consent is when someone clearly agrees, often verbally. Regardless of the type, consent must always be informed, meaning the person should understand what they're agreeing to. It's also crucial to allow individuals the opportunity to withdraw their consent at any time. They need to know they're not locked into anything and can change their mind. Another key point is that we must adapt our approach to the sensitivity of the situation. Some topics or contexts require a more careful, respectful approach to ensure the person feels comfortable and truly understands. At the core, obtaining consent isn't just a checkbox. It's about respecting autonomy and fostering trust throughout the process. This aligns with the overall goal of ensuring ethical and respectful interactions. When it comes to data collection, the key is to be intentional about what we gather. We should only collect necessary data that truly supports our purpose. There's no need to go overboard and collect everything just because we can. Instead, we need to ensure that what we collect aligns directly with our stated goals. It's also important to review our data practices regularly, making sure we're only collecting what's needed and that we're handling data responsibly. By doing this, we significantly reduce privacy risks for users. Limiting collection isn't just about compliance, it's about respecting people's privacy and building trust. So always ask yourself, do we really need this data? If not, it's best to hold back. That way, we can protect privacy while still achieving our objectives effectively. When it comes to using data, it's essential to focus only on the purposes that are clearly stated. This means we shouldn't be using data for anything outside the specific reasons we've outlined. Controlling disclosures is also critical, making sure that we're transparent about how and when data is shared. Managing third-party sharing involves carefully overseeing who else has access to the data and ensuring they follow the same strict guidelines. It's equally important to document any exceptions, those situations where data use might deviate from the norm, so we have a clear record of why and how that occurred. Preventing misuse of data is a core part of this process. We need to implement safeguards to stop any improper or unintended use. Overall, this approach to limiting use and disclosure helps us protect data integrity, maintain trust, and ensure we're complying with all relevant policies and regulations. Remember, the goal here is to manage data responsibly at every step, aligning with our broader commitment to data privacy and security. Ensuring our information remains accurate is absolutely essential. We need to update records as required to reflect the most current data, preventing any outdated information from slipping through. This practice helps us make fair and informed decisions, because decisions based on old or incorrect data can lead to unfair outcomes. Supporting the ability to make corrections is also vital, as it allows us to continuously improve the quality of our records. Ultimately, maintaining accuracy across our data is the foundation that keeps everything else reliable and trustworthy, aligning perfectly with our overall goal of integrity and fairness in our processes. Let's talk about protecting data with security controls. First, it's vital to apply administrative safeguards. These are policies and procedures that guide how we handle and protect sensitive information. Think of them as the rules of the road for data security. Next, we use technical protections. These include things like encryption, access controls, and firewalls, tools that help prevent unauthorized access and keep data safe from cyber threats. We also need to secure physical records. That means safeguarding paper files and physical storage areas, making sure only authorized personnel can access them, just like we do with digital data. An important concept to remember is matching the sensitivity of the data to the appropriate controls. Not all data requires the same level of protection, so we tailor our safeguards based on how sensitive the information is. Overall, these safeguards, administrative, technical, and physical, work together to create a comprehensive security approach. By applying the right controls based on data sensitivity, we can better protect our information assets and maintain trust. Let's talk about the importance of being transparent about our practices. When we publish clear privacy policies, we demonstrate our commitment to openness and accountability. It's crucial to explain rights clearly so our users understand what they are entitled to and how their data is handled. Responding promptly to inquiries also plays a big role in building trust because it shows we're approachable and responsible. Ultimately, being open and transparent helps foster a stronger relationship with our users, reinforcing the overall theme of trust and integrity in our work. When it comes to individual access, the key is to provide it upon request. That means we should be ready to grant access whenever someone asks for it, ensuring transparency and trust. It's equally important to allow corrections. If someone notices an error or believes something is inaccurate, they should be able to request a correction, which helps maintain the integrity of the information. Verifying identity is a crucial step here. Before granting access or making changes, we need to confirm that the person requesting is who they say they are, to protect privacy and security. Responding within timelines is also vital. Timely responses demonstrate respect and professionalism and help keep the process smooth. After we respond, it's essential to document those responses. Keeping clear records ensures accountability and helps us track any requests or changes made. Overall, these points emphasize the importance of a transparent, secure, and efficient approach to individual access, aligning with our broader goal of building trust and safeguarding information. Let's talk about some key steps in maintaining strong compliance. First, it's crucial to provide clear complaint mechanisms. This means making it easy for anyone to raise concerns or report issues without fear of retaliation. Once a complaint is received, the next step is to thoroughly investigate it to understand what happened and gather all relevant information. After the investigation, documenting the outcomes is essential. This creates a record that can be referenced later and helps ensure accountability. Cooperation with the OPC or the relevant oversight body is also vital. Working transparently with regulators not only demonstrates our commitment to compliance, but also helps resolve issues more efficiently. Finally, using what we learn from complaints and investigations to continuously improve our practices is a must. Addressing gaps and making adjustments helps us prevent future issues and reinforces our commitment to ethical standards. Challenging compliance is all about staying vigilant, being open to feedback, and always striving to do better. It's a continuous cycle that supports a culture of integrity and accountability across the organization. When it comes to breach notification, there are several key steps we need to follow to ensure we're handling the situation properly. First, it's crucial to report material breaches promptly. This means identifying when a breach is significant enough to warrant action and making sure it gets reported right away. Next, we must notify the affected individuals. Keeping those impacted informed helps build trust and allows them to take any necessary precautions. It's also important to notify the OPC or the relevant privacy commissioner to ensure compliance with legal requirements and to get guidance if needed. Maintaining detailed breach records is another vital step. Documenting what happened, how it was handled, and the decisions made can be invaluable for accountability and future review. Finally, acting promptly is essential throughout this process. The faster we respond, the better we can mitigate potential harm and demonstrate our commitment to protecting personal information. All of these steps together form a comprehensive breach notification process that aligns with best practices and legal obligations, helping us maintain transparency and trust with those we serve. Now, let's look at the final slide, which covers OPC investigations. These investigations can lead to various outcomes, such as compliance agreements, which are essentially negotiated resolutions to address issues without formal enforcement. Public findings are also significant, as they can be shared openly, impacting an organization's reputation. Speaking of reputation, the risk here is real. Negative publicity can have a lasting effect on trust and credibility. Legal exposure is another critical point. Failure to comply with regulations can result in legal actions, fines, or other penalties. That leads us to enforcement and penalties, which serve as both consequences and deterrents for noncompliance. Overall, this slide underscores the importance of proactive compliance efforts. The goal is to avoid investigations altogether, but if they do occur, understanding these potential outcomes helps us prepare and respond effectively. It's all about managing risk and protecting your organization's integrity in a complex regulatory environment.